Are you an expert that feels invisible? Or are you wondering why one brand sticks to more people than others? Well, you want to stay tuned to find out more about how to change that. So, I'm so glad we're doing this live today, and let's go. And welcome everybody to today's episode where my guest, who is a global and personal brand strategist focusing on brand identities, she also calls herself a brand enchantress. She's a number one bestseller of Significant Women, Leaders Reveal What Matters Most. And she'll be also sharing how to unleash your brilliance and embrace the success that awaits you and of course her journey. Before I bring her on, my name is Tree and I'm a video marketing producer. My team and I love working with law firms, medical practices, dentists' office to help them use social media to be able to build visibility to their business and also use live streaming and video. So without further ado, let me bring up my guest, Brigitte Bojkowszky. I hope I said your name right. Bojkowszky. There we go.
Absolutely. Hello, Sri. Thank you so much for having me today. My name is Brigitte Bojkowszky. Yeah, and I'm a global and personal brand identity strategist.
So before we begin, what is something that people don't know about you?
Oh my God, that most people who know me on LinkedIn, because usually I'm on LinkedIn when I do social media, I don't think they know that I like Muay Thai boxing. So this is something that I love doing, but most people don't know that I'm doing that.
You know what? That I find that a lot of women like mixed martial arts or martial arts. They're the ones that are doing the kickboxing. So if you're somebody who likes to do boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, all of that, drop it in the comments because we would love to know. I think that it's a great way to get in shape, but it also helps with self-defense just because anything is possible and you don't want to get in this position where you're like, wait a minute, what's happening?
Yeah. You know what? This is also something that very much helps you to focus because you really need to be there in the here and now 100%. Otherwise, you get a kick or a punch and you will not recover quickly from it anymore. So you have to be really fast. And Muay Thai boxing helps me not only to protect myself, but also to be fast when I think, when I have to react, or just to be a little bit faster than anyone else.
You
And it
know,
works your core. It works your core.
when I think about working out or we think about even sports like what we kickboxing, Muay Thai, you brought up a really good point, and that is that it gets you to get up when you get knocked down. It gets you to think when you need to think quickly. And I would love to know, like, how has that helped you in your business? Like, do you have an example?
It helps me in my business. You already mentioned it. You touched it. It's reacting fast to certain trends or to certain things that are coming up. And as you say, you're recovering from any setbacks much quicker. It's just you are trained to get up again. Yeah, it's the resilience that you bring to the table. If you fall, if you fail, or whatever that is, I wouldn't call it failing, but everyone understands failing much easier than learning hard. You know, when we learn hard, we get up again. and you continue with whatever you have learned, you move forward. So that's part of your experience, and you take it all in, and then you do it again in a much better way. And that's how you do it. And there are several stories why I started Muay Thai boxing. So and I didn't know that there is more consequences in a positive thing, or it helped me in many more walks of lives than I thought it would.
Well, that's what we're going to find out right now. So, when we go back in your journey when you first started working, many of you might know, many of you don't, but you were a flight attendant. And so, what did being a flight attendant help you? The lessons you learned from that experience, and how do you use it in today?
Yeah, there were several experiences and several learnings. So the first learning is to become international, to become global, to understand so many different cultures, to you dive into different cultures, you learn about how they do things, why they do things, you learn the reasons behind and different ways of reacting, the different ways of different behaviors that are common in business. And so you kind of anticipate already when you have a person from a certain culture that you have to work with. It helped me then later on as a professor, because I taught on an international level. Sometimes I had students from 14 different nationalities in my classroom. So I knew how to work with them. And so it's all about culture when you are a flight attendant, how you can best serve them. And the other thing that I learned is to create exceptional experiences and as a flight attendant on board. So you want to have the best possible experience for that passenger on a 14-hour flight and on a 45 minutes flight. Yeah. So that's what I internalized. So for me to create these exceptional experiences as a brand is important for me. And I was an employer. So for me, it was also, I was at the forefront representing a whole organization, like all the other flight attendants as well, or representatives of our airline. So you learn to act on behalf. And for me, I also identified myself very much with the brand. So I understand what it really means to live a brand, to represent a brand, and make others feel about the brand. That's directly connected, because a strong brand, a powerful brand, has the power to make someone else feel in your intended way. So these are the two learnings, and becoming resilient, because not every flight is like a smooth flight. There's a lot of this and a lot of irregularities, a lot of that. And then maybe a possible, let's say, emergency, you always have to be prepared. So what I learned is preparation, 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 preparation for anything. And when I was a professor, so later down the road, I became a teaching professor. So for me, it was to be prepared before I walk into the classroom, because there's always questions you will not be able to answer. Yeah, but at least that's what you know, and you can explain that. So for me, this is also a matter of appreciation. Appreciating others and paying the respect to others, that I come prepared. So that's what I learned.
And it's a lot. Like, we think that what we did in these previous experiences don't play a role in what we are doing, but they do.
Yeah.
And they carry with us. And then there are other soft skills that we've learned along the way. They don't come into fruition until we come into a moment where we're like, I always have been doing this. I just didn't realize this is a part of me.
Yeah. And there's another thing I have learned is, to a certain extent, reading into people. So when someone is boarding the plane, you get an idea, especially when it's a business class passenger, you're getting an idea, you anticipate a certain behavior already. Yeah, that doesn't mean you are stereotyping, but you somehow make sense what kind of newspaper, what kind of digestive that they are drinking. It's you get a grasp. And I mean, sometimes you're wrong, but most of the times you're pretty on the right path.
This is all about psychology. And I know that many of us, because, this is the juicy stuff, is understanding psychology of your ideal client, of understanding how you put out your content and present yourself will stick so they remember you. But I don't want to get too far because I want to get into more of the services that you provide and what can we expect. I think on next week there's a workshop or something.
Yes. So my services that I provide are I'm running challenges and master classes. So next week, for example, I run a 1 hour interactive master class. It's called Ignite Your Brand, Your Entrepreneurial Roadmap to Branding Excellence. So what I'm focusing on is entrepreneurs, newly minted entrepreneurs, or employees who are still on the fence and want to start their own business. How to brand yourself as an entrepreneur. And I'm giving them an idea of when and how to start and what this entrepreneurial branding is all about. Because actually, it's a 3-step process. You start out with the mindset shift from an employee into a business owner. So you shift your mindset. Yeah, you have to think differently, and then building your personal brand, and then building your business brand. So that's all about explaining what is the entrepreneurial branding, our journey about. That's the masterclass, and it's happening next week. So it's still open. You can register, and I think the link, you're going to provide the link, but the link will be on my LinkedIn profile. And then I also run challenges. It's like a masterclass, but over 3 days. And every day there is 1 hour kind of getting together. I teach an element of mindset, an element of personal branding on the second day, and on the third day, an element of company branding. So that you really get an idea what it really means and what you have to focus on. And then I also have like small group coaching sessions that where I get a bunch of people together, or I do one-on-one coachings. Usually my one-on-one coachings are over a time span of 3 months, where I help you to master your entrepreneurial brand. Yeah,
And
that's what I'm doing.
so
Creating brand identities.
well, I definitely suggest that you guys sign up for this wonderful opportunities because we're starting the new year. This, if you're feeling like I'm invisible or I'm not sticking, I'm not top of mind, this is a great way to jumpstart that process. Also, the links are in the comments, so don't worry, I dropped them in earlier. But now let's get into this because I know for some of us, when you think about your pain, I think this was, we want to run away from our pain, but we know that pain is actually a superpower, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
How do you teach others to show or be comfortable that your pain can be part of your process, that because of that moment, now you created something that others don't have to go through or maybe help them get through?
Yeah, it's usually the pain that becomes your purpose later on. It's very often that an entrepreneur who starts or embarks on an entrepreneurial journey is focused on their own learnings, on their own pain, and made that to a purpose. And that's what they help others with doing. It was also for me, my pain was I was invisible. I felt invisible because I was conditioned to play small. I was told, we are not good enough, please don't speak up. Nobody's interested anyway what you have to say. So it's kind of dimming your light all the time and molding into something just in order to fit in, to be accepted. Yeah. And there comes a point in life where you don't want to do that anymore because you tell yourself enough is enough. And many of us have that, maybe in our 40s, in our early 50s. It was in my kind of 40s. There was an inner conflict that I had, dimming my lights and fitting in and doing what others tell you have to do because what you think doesn't count anyway. So I was done with that. Yeah, and always be perceived as a person of second class or bullied or something like that. You're done with it. So there comes this transformational process, and usually you live this pain in your purpose, and that's what you help others with. That's why are you feeling invisible, but you are an expert, and that's what I was, and now I help others. Reflect and understand that this is your uniqueness, this is your brilliance, and this is your beauty in you that has to be empowered and has to be seen. So what I can suggest to do is that you acknowledge and reflect the pain or the challenges that you have faced, and you really take the time for self-discovery and understand what are the lessons learned, because everything happens for you. Yeah. And life is always nudging you towards that. You just need to see it. And once we have that awareness, we can work with it. So what is that lesson that I learned? And how can I help others with that? Yeah. So you understand how this experience actually have shaped you, and the impact that it had made on your perspective on life. Yeah. And then you go from there and you formulate a clear mission statement that encapsulates the purpose derived from that specific pain. Or maybe that pain, that was an accumulation of different events where you felt the same pain, because it doesn't usually show up just once. It shows up several times, right? So, and what change do you want to kind of make in this world with that? What did it do to you, and how can you help others? Yeah, how does your experience contribute to that change? So this mission, when this is well defined, gives direction and a focus on the purpose. And then identify also or clarify your core values. You might know your core values, but pain often prompts a revaluation of what truly matters. So what are your core values in the here and now? For example, my core values are pretty much the same, but they have changed meaning over time. Beauty and brilliance was all about being beautiful, representing an airline and offering the best possible brilliant service. Yeah. But now it's still brilliant in offering services, but the beauty comes from within. It comes from all the experiences that I have gained, and making it easier for others to shorten that time to get going with your business. So you don't need to go through all of what others have learned. You can shortcut this specific process, right? So reevaluate your values and then take action. Yeah. So tangible actions, have goals that are measurable, that are smart, smart, what it stands for. I don't think I need to explain that into detail, but have goals, a higher goal, like at the end of the next year, and smaller milestone goals, that you are able to achieve, that help you to go towards your vision. That's not to mix up with a mission, right? The vision is what is the legacy we want to leave behind, but goals help you to be more intentional to get there. right? So, and then take action based on that goals. Yeah. What are these actions? Is it education? Is it support? How do you want to help others going towards achieving that or overcoming that pain and helping them to find their purpose? Then it's also important to connect with empathy. So use your pain that you have as a bridge to connect with others. Yeah, it's being authentic, but also being vulnerable, opening up and showing your true self. And it's when you are connecting with this empathy, you get people to to resonate with you, to relate to you because they see themselves in you. Yeah, that's the human aspect. And also when it comes to brand building, it's not only about the facts, but you also need to connect on this visceral level. And build a support system. You need a support system. We can't go it alone. Yeah, it's a long journey to go it alone. You're making all the mistakes by yourself for others. I mean, this is great, but when you are in a network, you can support each other. Others may mirror you something that you're not even aware of. We have these blind spots. And when we are falling, even though we are resilient, we have others to pick us up. Yeah, we are faster to regain our attitude again and own it again. Yeah, because entrepreneurship is a lonely journey. So we need others who are on the same way. It's not your father, your mother, your sister, or your friend. It's people who are on a similar journey. Yeah, you need to understand that. Yeah, that helps you to cultivate the resistance. And lastly, you also need to celebrate the progress because we forget about that all the time. We measure our success with others, with competitors, with people who are faster, who are already far ahead of us. But what about you? What have you accomplished in the last year, in the last 2 years? Just own that. Give yourself some grace and pat yourself on the shoulder. Hey, Brigitte. Hey, Sri. You did a great job. You did it, even though you thought you will never be able to. So I think that is something that can help us. And just very quickly, there's an exercise that you can do. It's the so-called story purpose, because your pain becomes your story to go for your purpose, to kind of action, yeah, to make it your purpose. So what is your pain? What has been your biggest challenge, personal and professional? Then it becomes your story. Yeah. So how have you mastered, dissolved, and overcome it? What was the greatest learning for you that you took away? What are the major takeaways of that, right? And then your purpose. How would that learning help others? How could it inspire others to do the same? So if you're working with that, then you pretty much figured it out. So first of all, what you have learned, what kind of story you might be able to come up with different stories depending on your audience, because you tell your grandmother a different story than a client, or you know, um, you also need to figure out who your ideal client avatar is. So that's why you are at the beginning maybe trying out different kinds of stories, and then you arrive at the purpose. And you also arrive at how you're going to help them. That's got to be your concept. So, but this is only the starting point.
You basically answered, what can you do to not be forgotten, how to figure out how you're the expert in your industry. You also talked about why one brand sticks out from the rest. We have Robert who's saying celebrating the small steps is important. We beat ourselves up too much. It is so true when you have friends that you or who are on the same journey. Like I have a very good friend named Shara. We talk all the time and we celebrate with each other. And it's not like I'm jealous or she's jealous. It's we have the hard conversations too, where like, hey, I'm noticing this behavior in you, because it comes into our business. It comes even into our posting. And so Everything you shared was so juicy. It was like a mini masterclass. I don't want to give anything away because I want everybody to sign up for your masterclass, your challenges. Definitely connect with Brigitte. Did I say it right? Because
Yes,
I know
Brigitte.
you tell it to be easy, Bridget, but I'm like, no, I'm going to learn how to say it properly. I listened to, okay, so just as a tip on LinkedIn, you have the opportunity to use that little megaphone. You would use your actual phone to record the message, and you could say your name and then a quick call to action, which is exactly what Brigitte did. I listened it to so many times because I wanted to learn her name, but I also learned like she's telling you what to do, where to go. So if you're not using the speaker, which I'll show you right now on my phone, so you understand what I'm talking about, it's on your profile, the main profile right here at the top. I mean, that is such a key element. It will save people so many hours of how to say your name, but also it gives you an opportunity to give a call to action. So I just want to say, make sure you sign up for her masterclass. Make sure you sign up for her workshops. Did you have something to say?
Me?
Yeah. Or add?
I thought you talked to any of our listeners in the audience. Yeah, I mean, what I have to say, yes, this device, I think LinkedIn has stopped that by the end of the year. For those who still have it, they continue having it, but they're not offering it anymore. But
The speaker is there, not the video is gone though.
yeah, oh, the speaker is still there. Okay, so I'm
Yeah,
glad.
the speakers there, the video, they actually took those down. You were at one point, you could go to somebody's profile and see a video. But to combat that, what you can do is you can still do introduction videos. They're called introduction posts, and you could create that, post it, and then you could put it in your featured section on on LinkedIn. Of course, it's a little bit dug deep into the featured section, but there's always a way to do an introduction video. However, take advantage of the speaker that's right there by your name. I also would say if you have any questions for Brigitte, reach out to her. Tell her that you saw her on this live so she knows. Also, I have a podcast. It's called Adventure of an Entrepreneur. It's basically the live that turns into the podcast. I am taking all of my older episodes and the newer episodes and dropping them in there. So I'll be dropping the links in the comments. And before we go on to Instagram, because we're inviting you to join us, are there any last words you want to share with us?
Yeah. First of all, I just want to mention that branding starts with mindset. It's not just about colors and about typography and about the name and the logo. It's really about the feeling that you want to bring across. And mindset starts also with you when you start your brand, when you are creating your brand. So it's all about vision, mission, and your values. And also, and I think this is underestimated, the limiting beliefs that you need to dissolve and need to understand how to overcome or how to integrate them into your life. That very often is coming as a fear. So I think that is really important that you understand that when you're building your brand and then you're building your personal brand, that's who you are, what you want to become, how you're presenting yourself to the world, and how you're going to infuse that into your company or in your business brand. So I think that is the most important message. And if you're not defining yourself, if you're not having a narrative, then others will define you and others will come up with a narrative and you might not like it.
Mm, that's a really good one because you don't want someone else to give a negative narrative about you. Regardless of what happens in life, there's always a positive in it. So, what we're going to do is we're going to end this conversation. We're going to go to Instagram. I want to say thank you to everybody who joined in the conversation, whether it's the live, the replay, or even on the podcast. And I want to thank you, Brigitte, for just all that you shared today was so helpful. And until my next live, which is next week, have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye.
Bye.